everyone, Michael from Plant It All here, and today I'm going to give you an overview of the Growee water management system. You can see it here. I've had it set up for a while, and this thing has been absolutely key to making my hydroponic grow a lot easier to manage. Now, in short, if you're not familiar with Growee or other water management systems, these are systems that combine a set of sensors as well as pumps to make sure that your water is exactly what you want out of it. You can do relatively little. You can just have the monitor. You can do a little bit more, monitor plus pH management, and then you can go the whole way and do monitoring, pH management, and then also nutrients management. So it's scalable, which is really, really nice. They have a very simple app that helps you manage and monitor things. And the idea here is it takes work out of one of the most fundamental, most important things so that you can turn your attention to other aspects. All right, let's take a look at what we have physically as the setup of the Growee. All right, here's the Growee devices themselves. We have at the end here the control module, pH, and then both of these are nutrient pumps. And you'll notice each one has an output, so this is potentially scalable much, much more. And I actually did scale my system. So I started out with just the monitor, the pH, and then one nutrient. And then, as you can see up here, I'm using General Hydroponics Flora series with CalMag. So I needed an additional module down the road. So I've got all of these operating. They've been running for quite a while, and I gotta say, it was really pretty easy. It looks like a lot. There's a lot of hoses here, and I probably should tidy this up a little bit. But just to give you an idea of the bits and pieces here. So the control module that does your monitoring, you have a couple cables that come out of it here. So we've got power and then electrical conductivity, EC, and then pH. And those run down to here. So they interface directly with my water in a whole separate loop that's run out of my reservoir down there. And then as we look up here, pH, so we have the in and the out direction for both the pH down and the pH up. And then CalMag and Flora Bloom are being managed by this module. And then Flora Grow and Flora Micro are being managed here. All of this, so monitors, and then nutrients, and pH is tucked down there. Just my setup is a little bit tight. They all feed in and are controlled centrally by the app. So let's switch over and take a peek at the app itself. All right, here we are inside the Growee app on my Android phone. The interface itself is wonderfully simple, and the dashboard, the place where you start out and we're looking at right now, is meant to be kind of your one-stop shopping in terms of taking a glance and seeing what your system is up to. So we have three cards in front of us: nutrients, pH level, and water. The top two, nutrients and pH level, also have an indicator in their top right-hand corner. That green and purple dot, both of those indicate if the corresponding card is being managed by your Growee. So that dot is green for nutrients, means the Growee is actively monitoring and managing my nutrients. The purple dot for pH is on as well. So therefore I know it's actually actively managing my pH. Let's take a look at each of them. We'll work our way down, and then we'll look across the bottom of the app as well. So nutrients here, you can see everything is already set up. My system's been running for quite a while now. Each of the pumps have the ability to be labeled according to your nutrients. So you just type and tap right into those, and then set their volume in milliliters, and that millimeter unit corresponds to the next line down, the all amounts per. I have 10 liters set right now. So if I had 1 liter set there, that 5.2 on pump A for Flora Micro, that would need to be a 0.52. So it's just a unit of measure scale. The next set of fields, EC range, is how concentrated you want your nutrients to be. So in this case, I've given my plants a range of 1.4 to 1.8.
This allows a little bit of flexibility on either side and gentle changes when it comes to your system ramping up or ramping down according to the EC that you want. All right, let's go back to the dashboard and take a look at pH levels. This one is super simple. You just set your minimum and your maximum pH and you let it do its thing. The beauty here is, in my case, my plants really need to be at a pH of 5.8, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't use it a little higher or a little lower depending on the nutrients that the plant is trying to get at. So by giving it a bit of a range here, the plants actually become part of the dynamics of the grow. They demand a little bit more of something that then drives the pH down. They can get that for a bit, and then the Growee will protect it from going too low, or vice versa, from going too high, so I don't end up burning my roots and damaging them and basically wrecking my entire grow by the pH going wildly out of range. All right, once more onto the dashboard here. Water. This is just a monitor. It's a temperature probe that's part of your system, so it's reporting it here. Mine's at 77 degrees Fahrenheit. My lights kicked on just not too long ago, so my water chiller is going to drive that back down. There's nothing to control here. This is just a monitor. All right, so looking at the bottom here, we're going to go over to modify. This screen can be gotten to two different ways. One, by touching modify, or if we happen to be in one of our cards, say nutrients, if you hit the back button at the top left versus the dashboard button on the bottom left, it'll take you to this summary as well. Think of this as like a more detailed view of what's going on in your system, whereas the dashboard gives you the basics, what it is, so nutrients 1.5, pH 5.67. If we're in modify, it also shows us the target range that we've set up, and each of these will go into the corresponding control area. Manual dosing gives us the ability to select a pump and just inject a number of milliliters that we want into the system. So say for some reason you have a calcium deficit and you need to add 15 milliliters. You can do it directly here without having to uncap your CalMag, pull out what you want, put it into your system. It all can be done here. Smart dosing for your nutrients to control that EC. Same screen as we saw from the dashboard, just another way of getting to it. And then flush, this is what you'd use to manually select a pump to prime the lines with whatever your new nutrient or pH is available. So this makes sure that you have no air bubbles or things that are going to throw off the actual dosing. All right, history. Let's take a look down here. This is data. Some of us care, some of us don't. But this gives you an idea of being able to look at trends. And so if you made some other change, so say maybe I swapped out my lights and they're having a very different thermal impact on my grow setup, I'll be able to see that reflected in the water temperature. So valuable for some of us, other people aren't too concerned, but it's nice to have. All right, settings. This is basically going to be managed in your initial setup, and I'm hopefully going to be doing a beginning to end build setup calibration video down the road. But this is where you get at being able to name your device. That's always fun. The size of your reservoir in liters, very important. What kind of family? Right now I'm growing medical herbs. Number of plants, the type of nutrients, your unit of measure, Fahrenheit and centigrade are both loved in here. Nutrient units, these can be EC or parts per million. And then email notifications. If something goes horribly wrong, your Growee will shoot you an email saying, oh no, come check, see what's going on here. All right, last but not least, devices. This is pretty generic. This is where you're going to set up your account, and then if you're adding modules down the road, this is where you do it. Okay, that's pretty much it for the app. The beauty here is its simplicity.
And there you have it. It's a really rather simple way of going through and managing the number one and number two most important elements of your grow, your pH and your nutrient base. So if you have any questions or comments, please stick them below. Love to hear what your thoughts are on the subject, or if you have questions that maybe I can answer. And remember, happy growing.